Welcome back to the Hillbilly RV channel. Today I'm going to be watching Cameron change these vents. These are the Airxcel vents. I forget what they call them. I'll put it up here somewhere. They're bad, and we're gonna put a couple Dometic vents on this thing today. And it's kind of a gloomy day. It's rained all morning. It's supposed to be done. I hope. I really hope, because we're pretty far from home. And Cameron's just getting ready to really get started. He started digging her fasteners out, and then I'm gonna hand him the camera. And y'all gonna have to deal with him today. I'm showing Cameron that little pile of stuff there on that roof. If he looks, it's some little bones, ain't it?
Yeah, it is.
You know what that is?
No.
It's called an owl pellet.
Really?
I think it's owl pellet, yeah. Owls eat their food whole. They can't digest the bones. So when their belly gets full of bones, they throw the bones up. And you end up with those owl pellets. That's a pretty good size owl.
Yeah, I'd say.
Sat there and throw them bones up, but that's what they do.
Learn new things every day.
Neighbor's camper over there.
All right, so as you guys can see, I'm just digging these screws out, and you kind of have to just search around for them. I always start on the corners, and then just kind of dig your way through, and you just go in a straight line, and you should be able to hit most of them. So I'm setting up right here. This is where I stop. We just got this last row to do, and then we are good to start taking screws out. So you really don't have to get all of this sealer off. Just get enough exposed to where you can see the screw and get it out. Then you just kind of maybe look for those humps right there. That's a good indication of where a screw is. Just go to it, hit it, and just start peeling it back. Just try and get most of the sealer out so that you don't end up stripping the screw. And these square drives are really easy to deal with. So I'm very happy that that's what they used on this one. Should be the last one, so now we're going to start taking screws out. Alright, so we are just going to be making sure that the rain's done. So I got all the screws out of that one, and we're just going to move down to the next one. Just kind of wait it out and make sure it's done raining before we expose some big holes in the roof. So we'll get back to you when that's done. So we're working on this second roof vent, and Kenny made a really good point. With these square drive screws, a lot of the times you can see where the screw is at and just stick your bit down in it, like that, and just spin it right out. Yeah, you'll have a little more sealer on them, but it saves you from having to dig up. All of that sealer to expose those screws. Now the trick is just hitting the screw first try. Thankfully, it's not too hard on this one, but that's a good trick. But it really only works with square drives. They're just the easiest to work with in this situation. All right, so now we are ready to start lifting this thing up, and it's easiest to start off with this. Just get it under there, and you really got to watch out for your roof. Just kind of hold down and start prying. Try and get started.
Sometimes these things are really stuck very well. So sometimes you just got to get a little bit creative. Get these things off the roof without damaging the roof. So he's just going around and just kind of cutting the die core a little bit around the edge of the vent, because there's a flange on that vent that screws to the roof here. And sometimes you can just kind of break that seal a little bit. These vents will come off the roof a lot easier. Let's see, since he's went around half of it, let's see if it's made any difference. Because getting these things off, the old ones off the roof sometimes, is the trick. Because you don't want to do any damage if you can help it. And if you make a couple extra holes in the roof, I mean, it's not the end of the world, because every one of them screws was a hole. So there's already that many holes in that roof. And any hole that you might put in the roof, you know, is going to be under that flange anyway. So now we're getting a good start now. Now sometimes it's easier just to lift it while you push down on the roof. Just like that. Main thing is just take your time. Don't get no giant hurry. So there's our power wires for our vent. I've already been here working on this a couple times. So I had these power wires loose. I've already put the wagos on them. So there's our old vent. Now, Cameron is going to very carefully take a scraper, and he's going to always work towards the hole and try and get most of this old sealer off. Not all of it, but most of it. Just kind of pick it up off the roof a 1/16 of an inch and work you that way, but try not to drop this in the hole. So, as long as we get most of it, that's all we care about. All right. Just watch for the corners. You don't want to dig in that roof with that scraper. So this is going to take a little while. So while he's scraping the sealer off of this, where the old vent was at, we're going to cut this off. You've seen how we're doing it, and you know, it takes a while. It's just tedious work. Because like I say, you don't want to do any more damage to the roof than is necessary. Are you going to damage the roof a little bit when you change a vent? Probably. But like I say, it's not the end of the world. There's at least 20 holes in that roof already. For a couple more, it's not the end of the world. But we'll get that all scraped off, get our new vents putty taped, get them set in the hole, and we're just going to carry on. But we'll be back as soon as he gets done scraping sealer.
Okay, so
we've got
the roof mostly cleared off. I know it's not perfect, but
4574.
It's really almost impossible to get everything off. At least that's the excuse I'm using.
That's it, John.
And after this, just gonna get some brake clean.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to spray. And you really do this to clean the roof off. Just come here, try and get any of those other scraps that you may have left in there. Scrub it really good.
Hello.
And that's pretty much the gist of it. Just go around.
Yes. Are you an RV specialist?
And make sure you get everything good and clean. Or else the sealer going on your next one probably will not stick too good.
901-9572. My name's Kenny.
After I get that last side cleaned, we're gonna go ahead and fit the new vent in. I'll turn you back on when we get there.
Cameron just asked me a very important question. Orientation does matter on these, right? Oh, yes, they do. He's going to go ahead and get the paper pulled off the putty tape and just drop those wires down inside the camper for right now. Get them out of the way. Hopefully y'all can see all that I'm talking about. Now, you have to know where the hinge is at on the vent lid. And it has to go towards the front of the unit. So he's looking for the hinge, and he has found it. Drop those wires down inside the camper too. Then you just put the vent over the hole and just kind of center it as best you can before you drop it down on the putty tape. And then you just verify one more time that the hinge is up front. There he goes. He has verified.
Yep.
So he's ready to shoot them screws in that. I'm gonna actually go inside and look up in there and just make sure it's fairly centered before he starts shooting screws. So I'm gonna go do that, and then y'all can watch him shoot a few screws in. Maybe he'll talk to you. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, you could be smart and mark F for front, like Kenny did before we ever get up here. But yeah, hinges go up front. And as you can see, this flange is much smaller. So when we go back to seal that, we have to make sure we get all of these holes sealed back.
Nash.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on, you're fine.
Just back. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, you guys might have to start commenting, asking me what you guys want me to say during all this free time up here.
It needs to go back about a half inch. Quarter inch, some. Now, before you set it down, just kind of wiggle around and center it. Frontwards and backwards.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. You can start shooting screws back in.
Yes, one thing to be aware of with these things is there's a good possibility that the new one may have more screw holes than the last one did, so be prepared for that and come prepared with some extras. But next thing we're going to do is this putty tape. We got to cut that off because it does not react well with the die core that we're going to be putting on here. It just ends up separating from it and creating a terrible air gap, which is not what you want on these things. So we're just going to go around and trim all that excess off and get back with you. You don't want to use your knife the traditional way. You want to come at it from the back, come like this, and then just be very gentle. You do not want to cut through that roof. Should just peel off right like that. Give you a clean corner. And I am hardly using any pressure right now. Just can almost let the weight of the knife cut through it, because you do not want to.
You don't even have it on file.
Don't want to cut that roof at all. And that's the basic concept of it. I'm gonna set you down so I can focus a little bit better on this.
Cameron just had a question. What is the question?
With your screws that you took out of the old vents that have putty tape on top of them. Well, I guess it wouldn't be putty tape. It'd be that old die-core. So
just kind of pick a little bit of that off there. Let me show you. Here's an old screw. It's just got some putty tape, or still has some old die-core. Cameron's just gonna reach over and kind of pinch the top of that, pick some of that off. That's all you gotta do. And it's fine to reuse the old screws. Doesn't hurt a thing. Does it, Cam?
Nope.
Now most people, they might put new screws, but there ain't a thing wrong with them screws. So we reuse them. But we just, these new vents take a few more screws, so I gotta go get a few more. Since I'm the ground man today. Cameron's the roof man. So what am I doing up here? I don't know. I just come up to inspect. Boss.
Yeah.
Supervise.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, all right, we'll be back. A little development I didn't tell y'all about yet. When I took the second vent out of the box, the lid was kind of floppy. And I looked, the lid got broke during shipping. I think the lid maybe wasn't fully retracted or something when they put it in the box at the factory. But yeah, I get to come back on this job again, and this time for free, to replace this vent lid. So pretty excited about that, because like I said, we're a long ways from home, and just really excited about that. Can't hardly wait to have to come back and replace the vent lid, because this one was damaged in shipping, which was no fault of mine. But they're gonna send me a lid for free, but they're not gonna pay me the travel time, the labor to come down here and switch it out. Yay! So Cameron is down there working on that other vent. I'm gonna go to this vent, and I'm gonna put the die-core on it. So I brought all my die-core and everything up. So let's go up here and get started on that. There's some things you really need to be careful of, and I'll show you when I'm doing it, and that's why I just prefer to go ahead and do this myself. I told Cameron I probably wasn't going to come up on this roof today. I don't feel good today, and I told him he was going to be the roof man, but I've been up here a couple times, but I am going to die-core that. I am going to put the die-core sealer around that vent, and then we'll go from there. He's working like a dog down here. Well, he's working hard.
Hey.
The main thing, and these Dometic vents are not as bad as a Fantastic vent. You just got to make sure you don't get any sealer in this hinge. Like I say, now these are not bad, but if you're installing a Fantastic vent, which is basically the same, your hinge is much lower. So you're very critical and have a hard not to get some die-core in that hinge when you're installing a Fantastic. Like I say, these are not too awful bad, but I just wanted to show you that. Cameron's already got this all cleaned up. And for all you keen observers over there, you may notice this vent was not as big as the ones we took out. So there are screw holes visible out here. But we're going to put the die-core out here just about pretty much to where it used to go. So those will be covered, and it will be a non-issue. We're going to pull our protective paper off this thing, hopefully without tearing it into 10,000 little pieces. Hopefully get it all one piece. There we go. 30. We're just using die-core lap sealant. It's your classic 501 LSW. And it is self-leveling, but I'll always level it myself. Just gonna spread around some Dicor. And I tell people that buy this stuff from me to use themselves, I say, use Dicor like you stole it. Don't use it like it costs, what is it now, like $14 a tube or something? $13 a tube. You use it like you stole it. Be very liberal with it. Now I just like to use my putty knife just to make sure there's no voids. Because every now and then I'll hit a big air pocket. And you go over with a putty knife, you know there's no air pockets. So I'm gonna carry on here with the other 3 sides, and Cameron's carrying on back there, and we'll just probably be back to wrap this up, because that's all the steps except hooking the 2 wires up. It's positive and negative. And after that, you have to read the instructions to figure out how the remote works. These do have a wireless remote with them, which I'm not going to try to explain on video, because the last one of these I put in, actually, I couldn't figure it out. I finally just gave it to the customer and said, here, you need to figure out how the remote works. I tested all the functions. I could test the functions. I just couldn't get the, I don't know, I just had trouble with the remote. Hopefully these will go smoother, but that's probably gonna be it. I'll tell you what, we're just gonna go ahead and wrap this thing. Yeah, we're just gonna finish this up, and we're gonna get out of here. Thanks to Cameron for taking over the main part of the work today, and he's a good helper. He is a really good helper. And no, y'all can't have him out there. So just quit asking for his phone number. You're not gonna get it. Hey, thanks for watching. You got anything to say, Cam?
Nope, not really.
Okay, man of many words. Y'all have a great day, and we're gonna go find something else to do. See ya. We're gonna see, these are the, what are these vents? These are the, there's the Dometic, but these are the Airxcel. Don't be sniffing. Jeez. Come down and just wipe your nose on your sleeve or something. I have a hard time trying to edit all them sniffs out.